Welcome back. We're here to do the joint connection. We are slightly early upon schedule. I did mention to click the bell on the video. We do have a little bit of a storm happening here in Western Australia. So if you do hear some hustle and bustle in the background, it is because we are having some windy weather happening. Now we are going to get straight into the read because it's very late in the night for me and I do have to wake up at 3:30 for work the next day, but I didn't want to leave you guys without the joint connection. Now we are in the new month and we are in the angel number 10. Okay, what does it mean? Let's get into the gist of it. I'm going to be doing a series soon, which is going to really tuck into angel numbers. So stay tuned for that or subscribe if you haven't. And I'm going to give you my spin on it, both from a spiritual point of view, as well as how it does link to the twin flame path and how you can best utilize it, what it signifies when you do see it. We all collectively will be embodying this during eclipse season, so it's bound and certain to be very juicy. Now, some of the key themes that we do get, especially for those of you that are more privy to the information of angel numbers, signs, synchronicities, it is big cycles coming to a close. It's big changes. But whenever we see the zero, the 1 and the 0, you can be seeing the 111s, you can be seeing, the joint energies. What we need to understand is we initially can go into this feeling a little bit ill-equipped. Universe is saying to you to keep in alignment and understand that those tools are going to be coming to you. And some of these changes that we're about to go through, they were well and truly overdue. They are necessary. They're for our higher purpose and it is happening at a collective level. But it's also, we can kind of deal with it in two ways. One way we can deal with it can be, oh my gosh, I'm going to avoid that at all costs, and inevitably it's going to happen anyway. Change is always occurring. The other can be, your full awareness of it, you're taking direct steps in action and you're implementing it yourself. We do have a webinar that is coming up. I have already released it to the members. Stay tuned. I will have it on Premiere. Come back and visit the channel and click the link. And I break it down really into each zodiac, what I do see coming through for you, and really how it can link to the other astrology playing out at this point in time. So you may feel unsure about this start. It's also like the Fool card in Tarot. So we're taking a jump. We're taking a leap of faith. We need to have courage to move forward. There's infinite ways this situation can go. And we do feel we don't have the tools for it. They're going to be provided to us, but it can even be overnight changes with these areas. Next, okay, cycles ending and fresh starts ahead. So it's circular in nature, a little bit, it's circular in nature. Your thoughts and actions also do aid you in this. So, trust your intuition. You may know where some of these things are happening. Separately, it can be really taking a step back, especially moving into the eclipses. My best advice is always do the meditation prior and a couple of days after, but try to avoid any of such during the process because you want to get your downloads. You want to be able to really move through that wave of change very gently. Not necessarily does it happen gentle to all of us, but again, it's about having a personal experience and then coming out of it and going, wow, I really learned something from that. And then doing the clearing that you need. Now, because the first eclipse we're having, because we are in eclipse season, is going to be in the house of Libra. It can be, it is a masculine sign. I did mention in the webinar, it's feminine related, which yes, it can be, but it's also the masculine side of things. It is to do with marriages, contracts, partnerships. It's to do with justice, with fairness. We may also have grievances from the past that do crop up spiritually. We also in the collective could be seeing things to do with finances, trade, and a bunch of other things, but the webinar covers it. But spiritually within the joint connection, there can be some emotions to do with contracts. There can be some divorces coming through. I always say as Venus goes direct, it's usually even at the end of it when we're coming out of the shadow phase. We do see a lot of karmics coming out of the woodworks. We also do see a lot of cycles coming to a close. So this can be, for instance, divorces, separations, reconciliations, changes in status. A transformation is ahead for all of us. Now, this can be in any facet of your life. Last but not least, before we get into, okay, where have I put it? Did I miss anything? I don't think I did. I think I uploaded the same thing. Anyway, we're going to get into it. We're going to get into the joint connection and what I see coming through for you. A big hello to those of you who are joining us, and especially for those that are within the members. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. It does help me bring content to you on a week-by-week basis. Now, we're coming through the gate in the joint connection with the King of Swords, okay? And again, it's the justice energy, like I was mentioning before. Jointly, you both are going to be thinking about this. You both are going to be thinking about your marriages, contracts, partnerships, your intimate connections, who you're dealing with, fairness and balance. It's also very intellectual in nature. So it can also be a very critical time that you're looking at this. And for a lot of us, we can get super serious all of a sudden. It's like, right, got to do something, got to grab the bull by the horns. This situation needs to change. I do feel in the joint connection, it is about the joint connection. So it's what changes we can do. Sometimes we do spiritually feel that the power's out of our hands, but I have been saying this for a very long time, especially in the coaching. We always do have our side to it that we can make a change. And so, for many of you, it's probably going to come up in the separate sections I discuss, which is the feminine and masculine part of this read. So stay tuned for that part and you could get additional information. And I will give you tips at the end of this of how to best navigate this circumstance. I do feel divine masculine, and feminine. You're really looking back to the past. You're looking back to the past of the situation of the gentler side of this human being, where that person had their happiness, how directly they've changed. And it's almost, and I've been saying this for a bit, all that glistens as gold. Some of those things also can be the person actually coming back in a healthier way. So for those of you in communication, maybe moving into reunion, you can be seeing a definite change in this person. I also do feel that this is inevitable, that this person is coming back in a more gentle way, a more mature way. This is also divine feminine's hope. And I also feel that divine masculine is very nostalgic of that, as who they used to be. There could be also a circumstance relating to a father figure for some. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. It could be father energy, definitely, family-related dynamics. But I am seeing a father energy. But it's also the comparison, who they used to be, who they thought they needed to be, but really who they're becoming and the new version of them. At times they really have not felt, and I feel divine feminine is doing this. I feel the divine feminines that are in communication are, to a degree, they do get frustrated because when you're integrating, when you're trying to bridge that gap within the reunion, you can directly be looking at this thinking, look, this is going on deaf ears. I can't give this person compliments. They never receive them. I do think they're working through that. I also do spiritually feel there are some pockets of divine feminines, be it you're in communication, reunion, or what status you are. I'm really seeing some of you casting critical eye and saying, hey, what am I doing in the mix of this? Is this a wise move? And that can be the monkey mind. It also can be quite rational that we do make that decision. If we have been enabling or being manipulated in that circumstance, there are ways we can directly change it so we can get a different outcome. We do actually have a lot of fair-based frequency. And again, go back to the number 10. This resonance of this vibration is going to be here for the whole month. We're going to return to it. I may have additional information psychically that does come. So how you directly can be looking at this circumstance, especially in the first row, is you could be looking at the fact that you're fretful that this person can't evolve and change. Is the leopard, is the zebra going to change its stripes, sort of thing? I directly do feel so. I feel it's by your attitude of, knowing what you're worth, knowing that when we do have blockages, hurt people. So there is this feeling almost that you want to choose a path. You want to choose a movement forward. And that's completely within your right. It depends on how you want to deal with that. Separately, I do feel the status quo of where it stands, there is a discontent. There is a necessity and a need for a transformation. And like I said, we should always be very careful what we ask for, because these eclipses are ushering it in, be it we want it or not, be it we're ready or not. in the long run, we will look back and go, gee, you know, that really should have happened a long time ago. And I'm so grateful that it did, because you know, it's so much better now. So whatever these big changes can be, they can be tower moments. And it's almost like if there is an obstacle, I do directly feel it's being moved. Okay. I do feel for some of you there was almost like it was getting off the ground, and it, you know, it fell back down again. And regardless of whether you're in communication union or separation, these messages are the collective messages this week. Some of you can be feeling, you know, it's almost that frequency of, you know, the memory of every time you've started and it hasn't quite gone according to plan. And it's almost like the one that got away. So in the dynamic, you know, I do think something has happened on Divine Masculine side, and it did put a bit of a spanner in the works. And I do feel Divine Feminine has a little bit of PTSD here. It's almost like fretting and feeling subconsciously, even if you do have control over that, that maybe something else is going to pop up and some drama is going to come. And I think intuitively, we always do have that intuition. But I do think you're going to deal with it differently. I very certainly do feel we're going to deal with it differently. There's a very, very strong connection between the both of you. And I feel your response to the circumstance and how you tackle it is going to be very positive. But I feel always trust your instincts. There is another way you can actually block those more negative outcomes. And it's sense it, acknowledge it, let it go, and literally tell universe to change the channel. So it's almost like, okay, I acknowledge that vibration and that image or that circumstance that I'm fretting that maybe will come, or I'm getting a psychic download of such, and then switching it and saying, yeah, no, I'm really not interested in that storyline. And you can actually block that from occurring. So, you know, as long as you move into your highest octane with that, it's going to actually spiritually protect you. There is a bit of inner child coming up here. But it's almost intuitively you're sensing it. This unfinished business is potentially what is causing drama. I do feel it could be to do with Divine Masculine. There is also some changes that I do see Feminine ready to move through. We'll discuss those in a minute. Now, there is something that is going to be let go of. This can be to do with a family and a tribe, being fair to individuals, being understanding, compassionate. There also could be a karmic ending relating to a cycle within a tribe. But there is physical movement forward. And again, I want you to very strongly, and I'd say this energy is going to be the resonance of the month. But I also would say this week, especially closer moving towards the eclipse, we are intuitively tuning in. You're going to intuitively know how to deal with the circumstance with your twin. Some of you from a psychic perspective can feel a spiritual shift coming. They are thinking about you quite a bit, but I definitely feel there is a physical shift, especially if in your 3D life you have been saying to yourself, I'm really ready for that new beginning. Now, Feminine in the mix is directly looking at wanting to succeed. Now, you could have already spiritually had your tower moments in life. You also could be asking, when is your star coming? Now, if you do feel you're in the thick of it, my darls, and you do feel you've really gone through the rough of it, you're not the only one. Venus retrograde and our Mercury, plus all the way through to May, we really have gone through a revolution here. So it's always darkest before the dawn. I do feel a lot of you are saying to yourselves, when is the beauty going to come? You know, when is it going to be my turn? Now, sometimes to get the star, we go through dark times, or we don't have the clarity. It's very much like the Tower card and then the star. And you do look to the star and you can physically see it's dark, right? But you're driven by the light, which is a dream, a hope, you know, great time to manifest. Would I do it during an eclipse? Absolutely not. Prior to, yes, remember, back to the advice that it was giving us, which was to be very careful of your thoughts. Like attracts like, be intentional moving into the eclipse of what you want to attract into your life. This critical energy is fairness and judgment. We can have some victim consciousness coming up. That's healing. It's just life. But how you deal with that frequency is definitely going to give you almost like the manifestation of such, because I do feel some blessings coming your way. Some of you also are going to be a little bit negative about it because you're going to be like, no, it's almost like we divorce the fairy tale. We don't believe that beautiful things can happen because so many times after times it's been so dreadful that we are less optimistic, which is directly the mirror of divine masculine when they were going through things. And they really taught us by observing them that, to not pin your hopes on things, to have detachment. So I feel the term is detachment. Now, I do feel you're trying to move away from the anger. Some of those things are going to be cropping up. You also could be hearing gossip through the grapevine. This can be, but again, take it with a pinch of salt, especially if the snooping and the old prowling was coming through, or your hunches were there, and you were feeling that people were really quite shady in the way that they were maybe speaking. This could have been about your twin. This could have been about other individuals. If this situation triggers you, and again, I do feel it's family, what you're going to say is, but what's my truth? I do come from this tribe, but who am I as a separate energy, as a physical adult, not a child? And what is my spiritual belief system? And you need to look at both the positive and the negative, and that way you can make a full assessment of the circumstance without being in the ego. Now, I do see a circumstance here that, you're quite brokenhearted. Have you been let down in your life? Yes. Are the things that people are saying truthful at times? Yes. But at the same time, you feel it's your cross to bear. You feel it's for you to deal with, and it's for you to have those feelings. And, some of you could be taking offense to this. It could be problematic. Some of you also are feeling still really hurt or scared that maybe they're going to do it again. Maybe the circumstance is playing out again. It's funny because when the devil card came out, I feel moving into Pluto moving direct, I do feel the sacral chakra is going to be active, and there is going to be this interest that the collective has to move forward and to proceed forward. They're asking you also to wait before you snap, to, not get too passionate about circumstances. Just pause, sit with it, trust your instincts and wait and see. And I think once these opportunities present themselves, I feel well and truly you know what you need to do. A transformation is coming, and you're not going into this circumstance saying, look, I'm going in my angel's fair to tread. No, you're not doing that. You're actually saying to yourself, I'm going to go slowly. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to let the person prove themselves in this instance. Now, what do I see? Okay, there is an old circumstance that's going to crop up. But again, I think these are really positive. I really do feel, especially from the bottom row, you intuitively could feel that something is about to shift in your life. I feel you're making some choices about your future. I also do feel that there is a circumstance here that out of left field is going to come up, and it's going to give you some information that you didn't know about. Could some of you be hoping that you're going to get bad news so that you have your answer? Yeah, but I don't think we know it subconsciously. What I am saying here is something very exciting is coming, and, a karmic cycle is coming to an end, and a brand new chapter is coming, and I do feel the decision is going to be made. So be very careful of your choices moving forward, my loves. I do see love on the horizon. Now, divine masculine. Are we ready? Okay, they're really thinking about now. I'm hearing the song, I got trust issues. There is something in their subconscious mind at this point in time in their life that, it's almost like lie, I can't lie. So I don't get this card as a negative card. I do get this spiritually as them feeling. It's a little bit like you're trying to say to yourself, something can be better, and it stinks, and it's not great, and it's not the best you can have. I just feel they can't lie to themselves anymore. I think this is a beautifully positive thing. So I'm not getting, anything negative there. I also feel intuitively they know who they can trust and who they can't. They've really been around a lot of karmic energies in their life. And the reason why potentially they have reacted to circumstances in the way they did is because they were deeply traditional. We go back to the joint connection. And I definitely feel as though, in this past position, who they were was maybe the role model that the individual needed to be, not them. Now, what do I mean by that? That could have been mother and father energy, and they simply weren't able to be that. And so they had to be that. And they were really fretful they would turn out like that individual. I think they're having a change now. They're really going through this spiritual change and they're like, look, I need to decide for me. Now, Two of Cups down the bottom here in reverse. This has fallen on the floor twice and it's come back in the upright. And I think they're leaving a circumstance and they're healing, but they're also, for some, it's almost saying they're really, really ready for a connection now. They're really moving towards, making this change and being open to a connection. So some of these circumstances could have been, especially for divine masculines that were separate, they just needed a little bit of time to heal, a little bit of time to level up and get their ducks in a row. I do feel this also can signify leaving a karmic situation or a contract and or a physical job. And this, to a degree, it's almost like with the Tower card here, we actually have them being selfish for a change, but in a healthy way. It's like, look, when's the last time I filled my cup? When have I filled my cup and filled my dreams and addressed the things? Where is the give and take? Or, I'm needing to give. Maybe I've been taking that out on my divine feminine, but I want to pour into the cup. I want to move towards someone that's going to share with me. This also can be a time that they are worried. I would say about finances, but I think that's going to shift quite quickly. This Tower, I feel, is a revelation, okay? It's like, I know what I need to pull down. I know what I need to end. This also can be a contract. They also are looking at self-sabotaging energies, maybe ways that they're sabotaging their future, fretful that if they poured too much attention into something that they really wanted, that what if it went pear-shaped? What if it didn't work? They have been considering living with you. Some of them are already doing such. But they feel that there are circumstances they need to address. This could be to do with tribe and family also, because it is blocking the path to the connection with divine feminine. So whatever these people are, they could have a bee in their bonnet about you, but it's really not to do with you, divine feminine. So be it it's a karmic, be it it's a family, be it it's a physical parent, it doesn't matter, because this individual here in the mix really has they have their own mind, they have their own belief systems, and I just get this feeling that they can handle this on their terms. They can handle it and they're going to address it. Yeah, they could be hearing things through the grapevine and it's irking them. They also don't want you to get the wrong idea. So they could be trying to keep you away from this person, but they also feel, some of you are very privy to this information. Some of you know what this person's like. It's been a bit conflicting for them. It's almost like they've been in the hermit mode, and that could have been because of last month. We were in the 9 energy, which is very intellectual, very much up in our head, very Mercury in nature, but Jupiter wanting to move forward, but unable to react. Too many options there, too many dramas. Dramas with siblings, potentially. Now, there's a balance coming with the give and take, but they also do feel somebody is manipulating them here, but they've really got their eye on them, okay? They know who this person is, all people. They know what the circumstance is, and I really see them wanting to bridge the gap and, almost getting rid of them. Some of them can be actually dealing with a financial situation. Again, I can't advise you legally, financially, medically, but this card is really oozing to me, either going through a divorce, giving the person them their money, their assets, the things, sharing, having a balanced mind. Now that we're moving through October, doesn't mean to say that we're not going to have some shake-ups. But I do feel they're wanting to have the give and take there. They're wanting to actually partake in this circumstance. Now, I'll go back to Divine Feminine before we wrap this up and I see any other messages. If you are feeling it's quite dark, be careful not to project. But definitely, if you are feeling something is bugging you, articulate such. Always, always with new communication, try to implement that differently each time. And gradually, you're going to get a different outcome. If you are currently in non communication and potentially they did hurt you, you also can reach out and send that white flag if you do want physical movement. Again, as long as you have absolute no attachment and you're merely making maybe a statement, hope you've been well, X, Y, and Z, keep it short and sweet. It's up to them what they do with it and proceed on with your day. But if you don't feel spiritually that situation is correct for you, don't do such. But there could be for some of you, the individual is contacting you directly. But for some, there's some major revelations to do with your dreams that you do need to hold true. You do need to act upon. They also can be very separate to your twin flame path, as well as jointly what you see, and hold true to those dreams. They're your dreams to have. I will love you and leave you. If you do want a coaching session, you can come into the Members Hub. I do connect with you guys daily. Separately, if you do want a booking with me, my links are directly below. Otherwise, I will see you next week for the updates. Come through. We also do have elements in the Members Hub coming up for the Divine Feminine. I've already got all the content ready to go.